The following is a live broadcast of a Lone Star community radio program, recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and facebook.com/irlonestar. For more information on this show, please visit our show page at irlonestar.com/shows. To sponsor or donate to this program, visit our donate page at irlonestar.com/donate, or email us at lscrstudios@gmail.com, or give us a call at 936-666-1084. Lone Star Community Radio production and broadcast is possible by folks like you. So sponsor and donate today.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KCCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good morning and welcome to the Weekly Business Hour. This is Rick Schisler. I'm your host. I'm a Silver Fox advisor and the founder of onebestconsult.com. Thank you for joining us today. And we're coming to you today, as we typically do, from the studios of Lone Star Community Radio, which is located in Conroe, Texas, the fastest growing city in the country, according to the Census Bureau. So we're right in the middle of things, and business, in my opinion, is going very, very well here in the Conroe, Montgomery County area. Don't forget the Weekly Business Hour is where businesses come from Montgomery County and, in fact, throughout the world with the advent of the internet to talk about the latest in business news, business ideas, and to be part of conversations that can make a real difference in your business today. And I want to remind you, as we start every show, we're on YouTube. So you can go watch the show live as well as listen to it. Simply go to Facebook or YouTube and join us on the Weekly Business Hour page, and you can watch as well as listen. Today's show is sponsored by onebestconsult.com. That's the business that I founded. It's primarily built around a website. It's an extension of this show, the Weekly Business Hour, where businesses, particularly small businesses, owners, can go and exchange ideas. They can ask questions in a non-threatening environment, and I as well offer various services. I love to hear from people, and I'll even personally address a business issue that you have. So please check it out. It's onebestconsult.com. Also a reminder, during the show or after the show, if you've got a question you want to ask, even one of our guests, send me an email. Or if you've got an idea or something that we've done you don't like, you have a different opinion, send me an email. It's real easy. Send it to onebestconsult@gmail.com. That's onebestconsult@gmail.com. Well, today our studio guest is a good friend of the show. He's been on the show several times. He, in my opinion, is one of the authorities out there on commercial business insurance. He understands business insurance, the ins and outs, so that when you do business with him, you don't get caught short as far as your coverages. I want to welcome back to the show Mr. Chris Wehe. Chris is the Director of Business Development and Commercial Lines Consultant at the Ellard Insurance Company, a commercial insurance risk management firm located in the Woodlands, Texas. And you can check them out at www.Ellard, E-L-L-A-R-D, insurance.com. Chris, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Rick. Glad to be here. Always thrilled to visit the show.
Well, you always bring a lot of great information. In fact, we've got a specific topic you suggested, which is really interesting to me. And this is what I mean when I tell people you're an expert in commercial insurance. It's not just about selling, but understanding coverages and that the business has the right coverage. And you're really good at that. I have firsthand experience. Well, let's talk about, you've been here in Montgomery County during this recent upheaval, pandemic, whatever we want to call it. First of all, what major changes have you seen with the business customers that you work with, maybe from an insurance point of view?
I've seen a lot of the stuff I've seen is a change in how they're doing their business. Obviously, with COVID and working from home, you have more employees working from home or working remotely, and that kind of changes what they're doing and obviously the risk that they are working under versus everybody in the same office, or not doing as much stuff in an office or at one location. Everybody's spread out, and that does create additional risk to a business owner.
Well, it's interesting, people being spread out. You're talking about remote workers, or you talk about social distancing?
More remote workers and a little bit of social distancing. It depends on obviously the type of business. If you have customers coming in and out, the social distancing is having information posted to avoid some liability. And then having your employees work from home, there is more of a internet cyber liability risk, because while your system may be fairly secure, somebody working out of their house may not have the same safeguards as far as internet security that a business would have, and that is a risk that a business is taking on as they have their employees work from home.
Let me ask you, that's an excellent point, because we've literally had thousands, probably millions of new connections, meaning people either using their personal
Yes.
Connection for business or new internet service being installed or upgraded. What does a company do about that as far as the level of protection that they need to put on the internet for that commercial use?
Well, they would want to make sure that any of their employees that are working remotely have at least the same level of security and software protection and firewall protection that they do on their business. The business owner is taking on that liability. So if a business is hacked or gotten into for various nefarious reasons, and it's through the employee's home computer, they're just as liable as if it happened on their site. And so they need to make sure that anybody that they have working remotely have the proper protections, at least as what they have. And even if the employer or the business owner needs to pay for it to make sure that it's secure, because even before all of this, the rate of hacking or intervention from people was on the increase for small businesses anyway. Those are the businesses that were being targeted by hackers, from 5 to 200 employees, because of the lack of security that a lot of these companies have. They're not, Target and Walmart have got their act together, and it's hard for hackers to get into those systems. And so they go after the smaller ones with ransomware or there's phishing and that sort of thing to get access to a business. And if they don't have the right protection, then they're liable for it.
Besides having a good quality IT provider, either in-house or third party, there's insurance that small businesses can get. And I suspect a lot of them aren't aware of the cyber protection they can get. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, that is, most businesses are underinsured on with any type of cyber liability. So what cyber liability coverage would do is, if you are hacked, ransomware, any type of data breach, you would be able to file a claim and get obviously reimbursed for actually any losses, but also they will provide money to help you get your reputation back, help you get back up to speed to get back into business, even to the point of if you have to shut down for a period of time, you can claim lost income because you were hacked or you had a significant data breach. So, and also most of these carriers provide services that are included in the policy to help you. It's not just reactionary. They will do evaluations. They will provide additional information or different avenues for you to help protect your business so it doesn't happen. Insurance companies don't want claims any more than the business owner. Nobody likes that. So they are very proactive with these cyber liability policies to provide additional services and consulting to help you help protect your business.
That's a good thing to know, because back in the day when I was very active as a business owner, they did premises inspections, OSHA-related inspections. But, of course, cyber wasn't in the mix then for obvious reasons, because we just didn't have the computers and the Internet. So this is something obviously every small business needs to be aware of not only the coverage but the opportunity, because I always found the premises inspections and the OSHA inspections, once you get over the nervousness, were very helpful in helping my operation, my business run better, more efficiently, because we didn't have the quote-unquote breakdown due to a failure in the business itself.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it, and to our detriment, or we should be talking more about the services that a lot of these insurance carriers offer for free, even on like workers' compensation. They'll come out and do a safety inspection and offer services to help you or help a business owner run their business better so they don't have the claim. We don't want, like again, insurance carriers don't want claims any more than the business owner. And if they can provide a service to help prevent that, then considering most of the time it's free, they don't even charge for it as part of the premium, then it's something that a business can take advantage of.
Yeah, and they need to take advantage of it. It really helps. It's not something to be afraid of. Well, we've talked about what small businesses and businesses here in Montgomery County have done a little bit. What adjustments have you made in your business as a reflection of the pandemic and the impact it has on your customer base?
Not a whole lot. Actually, we were pretty digital before all this. Most of the time, we can send everything out through email. We use e-signature platform, DocuSign, to sign all our paperwork, and have been for years. And so, as far as that end of the business, we haven't had. We were already kind of there, so we were able to adapt pretty quickly. We obviously, most of our business has come from referrals. We don't do a whole lot of advertising, and the networking and the relationship marketing that we've done in the past has really benefited us now, because a lot of people are now doing, instead of meeting, they're just doing, email or digital introductions and stuff. And we've already had our relationships in place, so it was easy for them now to refer us, because we already had a relationship with bankers, commercial realtors, and even other business owners. So it's been we've been pretty busy even since the COVID epidemic has hit.
What about you personally? Have you had to make any changes to the way you do business?
I worked remotely for a couple months. Didn't really go in the office, mainly because all my business meetings were canceled, so I was able to work from home. I got a second monitor and kind of set up an office at home to work, so I was able to do that for 2 months, and then we went back in towards the end of May, and I've been back in the office. So we don't get a lot of, with commercial insurance, obviously, we don't get a lot of foot traffic anyway, so it wasn't, we didn't, even if the office wasn't open, we didn't get people wanting to come by and do that. We kind of moved everybody to a digital platform, digital signatures. In fact, if someone wants to come in to sign the paperwork, it takes us longer to do that, because we have to print them out, have them sign in, and literally turn around and scan them back in to our system. So it's actually significantly easier to have somebody do everything electronically.
Right, which makes sense. I'm curious, back in the office, what was your take? You're working remote, and then you're back in the office. Do you need to be in the office to work at the highest level that you can?
Yes, and I know everybody's different, but I can't work from home or for an extended period of time. Way too many distractions for me personally. So I know some people can. I'm not one of those, so I needed to be back in the office for me to be as productive as I possibly could.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you say, there are different opinions. Well, let me ask you, businesses have been out there, risk management is not something that small businesses think about, and it's one of the things your firm does. Talk to us a little bit about risk management and relate it to small business, why that's important.
Well, risk management, and that's basically what insurance is. It's just a form of risk management, but it protects a business and business owner and the business owner's assets from any type of lawsuit or claim that could happen. And people, part of the thing I try to get across to my business owners, well, what's your biggest asset? Well, your biggest asset is your business. I mean, it's the one generating income for you, for your family, for your employees, and for the community. You have providers or people that provide services to you, and you need to protect that. And with risk management, again, insurance is usually the primary way for a business to mitigate their risk. and obviously having the right procedures in place. And again, insurance carriers a lot of times will help with that if you have a policy with them, and being able to avoid the lawsuit is what, or if you have a lawsuit, having it paid for, so you're not taking not only money out of your pocket, but time and stress of having to defend that all yourself. And one of the things with commercial insurance is they have a duty to defend their policyholder. So almost any and all claims, whether it's a legitimate claim or not, and you know that a lot of times they're frivolous lawsuits, but they'll pay all the legal fees no matter why you're being sued. If you have the right insurance, then they will basically, after you file a claim, provide the carrier with some information, and they'll kind of pick up and run with it. So you're not spending time or money and stressing yourself out over a claim against the business.
Well, and that's important that folks understand that duty to defend is a real positive thing, because legal fees, I know firsthand, on both sides of that table can mount up quickly. Even if it is a frivolous claim, yes, they can mount up quickly. So we're already at the end of our first quarter hour. We're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you'll stay with us. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about co-insurance, something that is not a big topic typically, but Chris is going to educate us a little bit, and I think you'll pick up some things that really could help you down the road. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back with you.
Business ideas and news you can use, join us on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
What is homelessness? Have you seen parents struggle to find a job without having transportation or childcare? What about the children sleeping in cars with nothing to eat? Families shouldn't have to struggle to survive, and children should not be homeless. Family Promise of Montgomery County serves the needs of homeless families and their children. Learn about ways you can help and learn about partnership opportunities at www.familypromiseofmc.org, or call our day center at 936-441-8778.
Hi, I'm Keith O'Connell, CEO coach and business mentor. I've spent 4 decades helping multiple entrepreneurs use my principles to take their businesses to the next level. My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process Closing Strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
It's all about business on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and we're having a great conversation, I believe, with Chris Wehe about insurance, commercial insurance for your small business. I encourage you, listen closely, because we're going to talk about something that's it's a small piece of business insurance, but it's an important piece potentially for you and your business. Chris, let's talk about the co-insurance clause. Educate us, please.
Sure. Well, one of the reasons I like to talk about it and bring it up is because a lot of property owners, commercial and residential, even kind of overlook it. They see the premium and the coverage amount, and they don't realize that most carriers will have it's called a co-insurance clause or penalty that requires a insured to carry a certain amount of coverage based on the replacement value of your property. And what they want to do is they don't want you to significantly underinsure it without taking responsibility for it. So what a co-insurance does, it's either 80, 90, or even 100% that you are required to carry, or a policyholder would be required to carry as far as a limit without reducing the amount that could be paid on a claim. And it's usually somewhere in the declaration page or the commercial policy. And so people overlook it a lot because it's in the fine print. I'm an insurance agent. I don't like reading insurance policies. Only attorneys like to read insurance policies. But it's something that people need to be aware of. A lot of times when I explain it to a policyholder, they're blown away about the amount of reduction in a loss that an insurance carrier could pay. And so what it does is you can insure a property for whatever you want to insure it for, but if it's not within 20% of the replacement value, the carrier will reduce or could reduce the amount that would be paid on a loss or a claim. And so I put a couple examples up on it's easier to look at it with numbers than try to explain it. But for instance, if you had a $100,000 claim on a property that you insured for $400,000, but the replacement value is $550,000, there could be a reduction in the amount of the claim. So if most of the time the co-insurance clause or penalty is 80%, so you would want the insurance carrier would want you to carry up to 80% of the replacement value.
If I can interject myself, and people think about it, this comes up in homeowners insurance all the time.
Yes.
Actually, when I was practicing law a number of years ago, I actually had a client that had a significant loss, but one of the bones of contention, if you will, one of the problems was he and his agent, whatever, had not kept the amount of insurance on the property up, the coverage up. It had stayed the same like 10, 20 years. It just, in a sense, I blame the agent a little bit of not telling the client that, hey, anyway, the long and the short of it is he had a significant claim, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there was an argument put out, and that's why he had engaged us. The insurance company wasn't paying, but an argument, which was a good argument, that they were only going to pay a certain percentage, but the fact he didn't maintain at least 80% of the property value. So it is brought up from time to time, and I can't think of anything worse than having the loss and you're underinsured, so to speak, and that can happen various ways.
Yes. Most of the time where we see that is if there's a loan on the property and for whatever reason the property owner just wants to cover what the bank wants them to cover. And so they're just covering the loan amount. And obviously the replacement value, especially on older properties, is significantly different. And I've had to explain. I said, you understand that if you have a claim, and especially if it's a complete claim or a full claim where the building burns down or blows away, that you may still owe money to the bank and not get any money because the insurance company is going to pay, obviously, the lender first. And if they're not keeping up with the value of the replacement value of the property, they may not get a dime after the lender's been paid. And we don't want that. We want to make sure that somebody that has a claim, that they're made whole again. Usually where the gaps are significant or the difference are significant is if it's an older property. Market value, loan value cannot even be close sometimes to actual replacement value. With today's materials, today's codes, obviously cost of labor is significantly higher than it was when it was built. And if on some of these buildings, if they don't have the right amount of coverage, they could see a significant reduction in the amount that they would receive from the insurance company. And so I think one of the things I do on all of my proposals for commercial property is to even put a little table in the proposal saying, well, if you had a claim, this is how much you may receive because, how much the replacement value is versus how much you want to insure it. And I understand that a lot of them don't want to insure it for a replacement value because it does cost more. It is a expense issue, especially in today's environment, but it is a risk management issue that I try to at least make my clients aware of, that they understand what could happen. And if they're fine with it, if that's a business decision on their part, then that's what we'll do for them.
The slide that you have up really does, it goes into quite a bit of detail, but showing what can happen to somebody and how they can be left short, and it can get significantly. To people.
Yes, it can. Obviously, more so the higher the amount of the claim. You could, on the example I put up, it was, it's going to be, once you include the deductible on a total loss, if you have a coverage amount of $400,000, then it would reduce it by almost $40,000, which is 10%, that you would not get from the carrier.
Yeah. So, and again, when you have a loss, you don't want that heartache to deal with anyway. You don't want to be in a fight to get your claim paid. To me, when I buy insurance, it's all about getting a claim paid.
Yes.
In other words, I'm picking an agent because I think they'll go to bat for me.
Yeah.
And I think people need to realize that this is a business service, and it does not pay to go cheap on this and try to save a few dollars in premium by insuring for lower values that throw you out of, in this example, the 80% co.
Yes. Yeah, and that's and that's kind of why I at least try to talk about it, is because people have a tendency to just see what the premium is without looking at the fine print. And again, nobody likes to look at the fine print because it gets a lot of legal jargon and stuff. But it's important that a policyholder, and on commercial, and you mentioned it happens a lot in homeowners policies, that they understand the risk that they're assuming by having a low or higher co-insurance.
Yeah, good point. Anything else on co-insurance you'd like to tell us about? Because I think it's important, and I hope our listeners feel that way as well.
And if I talk too much longer, I'd probably put some people to sleep. But it's stuff I like to make people aware of. And then even with what you mentioned about updating your policy every year, I've seen instances where the insurance agent, at least didn't ask. We always ask every year, about 30, 60 days before, a renewal, we'll go out and ask, and do we need to change the coverage amount? Has anything changed or anything like that? A lot of people will do upgrades, betterments and improvements that's increasing the value, and that's money that they spent that should be insured. We want them to recoup that if something terrible were to happen to the building.
Right. That's another good point. Very, very important point. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we kind of wound down to the end of this segment. Chris, do you have a few minutes to hang around? I've got a few other questions I'd like to put out there for discussion. I appreciate it. We're going to go to our bottom of the hour break. Chris is going to come back with us and visit, which I think is good. And I want to tell you that will be a pod video cast of today's program, the program in its entirety. If you missed something and want to re-listen, they're typically posted on Wednesday of the week, and you can find them at a variety of social media sites, particularly our website at onebestconsulting.com. So please be on the lookout for that and share with business people. We'll take our break and we'll be right back with you.
To turn to when you have a problem in your business? Listen to the Weekly Business Hour on Lone Star Community Radio.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you're in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5 or 106.1.
My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process closing strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
God's Garage is a 501c3 that repairs and gives away cars for free to single moms, widows, and wives of deployed military. You can help God's Garage by donating a vehicle, volunteering your time, or by monetary donation. God's Garage is located at 2106 East Davis, Conroe. If you'd like to learn more about God's Garage, visit our website at godsgarage.org. Or you can contact us and we would be glad to come and make a presentation to your group.
It's all business talk on the Weekly Business Hour every Monday at 11 a.m. right here on Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schisler. I'm your host of today's program. And don't forget, if you have a question, a business question about your business or a question for one of our guests here on the show, reach out to me. Email at onebestconsult@gmail.com. Love to get those questions. In fact, if you listen to the show on a regular basis, we actually pull some of those questions and talk about them on the show. And we're talking with Chris Wehe. Chris is the Director of Business Development Commercial Lines Consultant at Ellard Insurance, a commercial insurance and risk management firm located in Northeast Texas. Chris, we went to the break. We had a great presentation on very important. Let me ask you, we're in this pandemic. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, of what your firm's done, you've done, some of your clients done. But right now, what is your biggest concern overall for your clients in light of the economy and what's happening right now?
Being able to, I think the cyber liability, I think that's significantly underlooked as more and more people work remotely using their smartphones. Any access point for a hacker is something that needs to be taken into account. And I don't think even before this that businesses were taking that threat seriously, small businesses, and it's just magnified with that. The other one is more so kind of what I was talking about with the co-insurance, is that commercial property owners are under-insuring their businesses to try to save money. And we understand that. Cash flow is really important now, as occupancy rates are down and that sort of thing. But skipping on having the building coverage is not necessarily the best way to go in the long run. Being able to insure it for if something were to happen. I mean, a lot of them are under-insuring their commercial properties just to try to save money, and it usually ends up biting them. Can create a huge problem if there is a claim, even with their tenants. If they don't have the money to fix the building, well, their tenants can't be in there, and then they're not paying rent, which kind of creates a bad cycle that we don't want our commercial property owners to get into.
Well, and you're exactly right. I mean, it's a catastrophic situation you buy insurance for typically. I mean, it's for, and yet when you buy it and you don't buy enough, then what is it that you're doing? You're really defeating yourself.
Yes, and we get people saying, well, my insurance company didn't pay the claim, and I ask, well, what, usually can get down to the why, and a lot of times the co-insurance or the deductible. I was going to kind of touch on that. The percentage deductible is people get tripped up on a lot, because it's not 5% of the loss, it's 5% of the insured amount, which can significantly, again, cut into the amount loss could pay. And if you've got 5% wind, especially on wind and hail, on a $500,000 property, well, that's $25,000 deductible, not including any co-insurance issues. So that could significantly reduce the amount of the claim.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you make a good point that a lot of folks, I know people talk about that, even in homeowners, they push that envelope a little bit. Sometimes can take 2% or 3%.
Yes.
And then you have a loss. And anyway, big surprise.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, one of the things that's come out of this pandemic is people trying, and around the country, I've read articles, people trying to claim business interruption insurance should cover the fact that they had to close their business for a period of time. business interruption insurance should cover their losses. Lawsuits are already happening. I read an article a week or two ago. There have been 2 or 3 been thrown out in federal courts in various places. What's your take on all that?
Well, it is confusing. It's confusing for us. Part of the issue is insurance laws are set by the state, not by the federal government. So each state has its own insurance laws. So any type of lawsuit against an insurance carrier has got to be in that specific state. So there's going to be 50 lawsuits in each state. It'll probably end up, again, I'm no attorney. I'm disclaiming that over and over again. I'm not an attorney, but it'll eventually wind its way to the Supreme Court. I have no doubt that eventually there's going to be some decisions. There's been a few states that have allowed the claimants to proceed, and there's been a few that have just been outright rejected. What business interruption is meant is to help recover lost income in the event of a claimable, or not a claimable claim, but a claim for property or another type of claim. So like on a commercial property, if there was a fire and there was a claim for the property, you can also, if it's included, obviously if it's included in the policy, lost income, loss of rent to help offset your expenses. It's not designed as a standalone claim most of the time. It's going to be something that's added into the policy, a lot of times at no extra charge or a small charge, and it's meant to help a business offset the loss of revenue instead of using what they would get paid on the claim. So it's an additional money that the insurance company is willing to pay, but it's not designed as a standalone claim on most insurance policies. It's, well, we'll give you this in addition to what you have on the claim or the loss. And most commercial policies specifically they don't exclude pandemics per se, but viruses. And so that is what, and so though on any type of claim, doesn't matter if it's business interruption or property or liability, that a virus is specifically excluded. One of the intricacies of insurance law is if it's not specifically excluded, it's included. And we had all those mold issues 10, 20 years ago, and all the lawsuits is because at the time the insurance company didn't necessarily specifically exclude it, and so it's included. And so the same way with any other type of insurance. So that's why you see all these exclusions on insurance policies, is because we literally have to state exactly what's excluded. Otherwise, a judge or jury or even the insurance commissioner can say, well, I don't see that it's specifically excluded, so it's included. You have to cover the loss. And so pandemics aren't, but we get a pandemic because of a virus, and so viruses are generally excluded from any type of claim, whether it's business interruption. And that's where the gray area comes in, and that's where the lawsuits are coming in that are probably going to take a significant length of time to get through. And when we have clients asking us, or not as much lately, but we never would tell a client not to file a claim. But if you're looking for immediate relief, that's not going to happen. If you want a record of the claim, just in case, 10 years from now, all this sorted out, and they say, yeah, you got to cover this. The other issue is insurance policies are contracts, and you can't backdate a contract. You can't retroactive, or you can't retroactive a contract that you signed. Now going forward, it could be different, but again, that's going to take a significant length of time to sort all that out through the court system. So I do tell my clients, if you want to file a claim, we're not going to tell you not to, but I wouldn't expect any immediate relief from that. In fact, there are a lot of carriers that aren't even including business interruption coverage at all because of all the stuff that's happening in the courts, that they don't want, just in case, they're not even writing business interruption coverage anymore. So.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. And I've always thought of when I'm in business, as a business owner, it was business interruption related to a physical damage of some sort, whether it be a lightning strike or,
Yes.
A car goes through the front of the window and shuts the place down, or a hurricane destroys it.
It's like rental reimbursement on your personal auto policy.
Right.
You're not going, if you need a car for some other reason, you're not going to file a claim for rental coverage. If you get in an accident, there's your claimable event
Right.
that and then they'll include a rental reimbursement for it. So it's kind of similar to that.
That was always my understanding, but I also understand in our country we tend to be litigious sometimes. And
Well, that's
anyway.
significant. I mean, it's terrible is what happened, and we've lots of restaurants and that are just out of business because of the COVID, and they're looking for some way to help them. And I totally understand it. It's not that we don't understand or care. It's just an insurance policy is a contract like any other legal contract.
Right, I agree. Well, let's kind of wind down here a little bit. What are some of the industries that you and Ellard serve?
Well, we do a lot of commercial real estate, commercial property, owner-occupied, investment properties. We have a lot of carriers that will even write south of Houston, which not a lot of carriers do. We do have a lot of carriers that will include lots of extras in their policies, called a business owner's policy for a commercial property. A lot of consultants. That's become more of a growth industry right now, because more people work from home, people getting laid off or furloughed and turning around and using their expertise as a consultant. So we do a lot of consultants, professional liability, Arizona emissions insurance, and that sort of thing.
Well, that's good to know, because I think, in fact, a consultant, as I have been for some years, it's always difficult to find. So, again, I think what the key to people is that you look not only for a business or commercial insurance agent, but see where their expertise lies and make sure there's a good match.
Yes.
Well, finally, what sets Ellard apart as a business? We always talk about being a differentiator and what in the market makes people come to you versus your competitor. What is it?
Sure. I think the primary one is that we strictly work commercial insurance. There are personal insurance and business insurance are two totally different animals, just like commercial real estate and residential real estate. And you need to have the expertise to work in that realm of commercial real estate, and we do that. We have some great personalized agent we'll be more than happy to refer business to, but we focus strictly on commercial insurance. So we have the carriers. We have literally hundreds of carriers we can go to as an independent broker. So it's not something that we just kind of dabble in because we're insurance agents. We don't do both. I think there is enough knowledge requirement, expertise requirement that you need to have a commercial insurance agent if you own a business, and a personal agent. I would not want to do personal homeowners auto just because I don't have that expertise. And so I have people that I can refer out to that know what they're doing on that side. So I think it's important for a business owner to have a commercial insurance agent that's what they do, and have a personalized agent for their home and auto because that's what they do. And then we service all our accounts locally. We have 3 account managers in our office. So if you need a certificate of insurance or need to make a change, it's a phone call and email away. It's not a 1-800 number, not somebody in another state or another country that's going to help you. And then we're very proactive with our renewals. We don't let that not upping the insurance value on the property to roll year after year after year until it becomes an issue, and then nobody's happy, and we don't want that. We want we understand it's insurance, and most people like to put it in a drawer after they do it, and we want to be where we're not a hassle with the insurance.
Well, it makes a difference. It's a service, and yes, it is one that perhaps a business owner doesn't need to spend a lot of time on, but it, to me, is one of the professionals, along with a lawyer, accountant, that a good business needs to have a professional insurance agent as an advisor as well as a provider. So, Chris, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on really short notice. I appreciate that very much. And as always, the information that you provide and the experience you offer is just fantastic. If folks want to reach out to you, they've got a question or want to talk about doing business, what's the best way for them to reach you?
My phone number is 281-827-0990, and my email is chris@Ellard, Ellard, insurance.com.
Give us that phone number one time.
281-827-0990.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our final break for the day. And when I come back, I'm going to offer you my one best consultant tip of the week. It's entitled, Why Business is Here to Stay in Your Business. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back with you.
about business on the weekly business hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
Vehl Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit, began in 2014 with a mission to strengthen the future of veterans through leadership and entrepreneurship training. We've invested over 1,400 hours of training in our veterans while connecting them with community entrepreneurs and leaders. Our mission is to continue investing in our veterans who have given so much for our country. Please join us in our mission by visiting vehlinstitute.org. That's VELinstitute.org.
Hi, I'm Keith O'Connor, CEO, coach, and business mentor. I've spent 4 decades helping multiple entrepreneurs use my principles to take their businesses to the next level. My methods do not fix your problems, they help you fix them for yourself. I call this process closing strong. Contact me at 713-557-1639 or visit my website at closingstrong.com for a risk-free 30-minute meeting to see how I can help you. Because a business can only go as far as its leader can take it.
Remember to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on your computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris. And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
Lone Star Community Radio is ready for the summer. If you or anyone you know is looking for a summer internship, Lone Star Community Radio is a great place to learn the radio and TV business. Contact the station at info@irlonestar.com or call the station's message line at 936-647-3776. Lone Star Community Radio offers a great opportunity to those interested in learning about the radio world.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Tuesday on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star from 3 to 7, I play back-to-back classic rock hits. That's right. I like to call it a 2 for Tuesday or a 3 for whatever it is you'd like. Call the request line 936-647-3776 or message me on Facebook, Afternoons with Lone Star, make a music request. That's right, you can do it. Here's what else. Go over to our website, irlonestar.com. Get the app on your phone. It's easy. You'll like it.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
It's all about business on the weekly business hour every Monday at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and welcome back for our final segment of today's show. This is Rick Schisler. I'm your host. I'm a Silver Fox advisor and the founder of OneBestConsult.com. Before we get into our tip of the week, I want to mention to you, if you don't already know, you too, your business, can sponsor the Weekly Business Hour. It's pretty simple and straightforward. All you need to do is send an email to me at Rick, R-I-C-K, at irlonestar.com. That's the radio station here in downtown Conroe. So send me an email to Rick at irlonestar.com. I'll provide you with some information. Love to have your business as one of the sponsors of the Weekly Business Hour. Well, let's talk about our tip of the week. I entitled it, Why Zoom is Here to Stay in Your Business. We've all gone through a lot of changes. We just talked to our guest, Chris Wehe of Ellard Insurance, about changes he has made personally, Ellard's made in their business, and their clients have made to change to fit the model, if you will, that we're in, which involves a COVID virus, a pandemic. And one of the changes that's been made is we're conducting more business all the way around, more communication using a product such as Zoom. In fact, I understand that Zoom is now the verb. I'm Zooming, whether I'm using Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams or whatever. But let's go have a Zoom call, an adjective to define the type of call that we're going to have. So I personally believe, and I want to share with you why, that we're all going to be Zooming in the future. Yes, we will have more and more in-person communications. We'll be seeing each other. We'll have meetings. We'll have meals. We'll share lunch. No doubt about it. And there'll be group meetings again, presentations, church and whatnot. Those will come back. But I think Zoom, or the concept of being inclusive to allow the largest number of people to participate, is here to stay. I think distance-wise, it's even more important. In other words, instead of jumping on a plane and flying 500, 1,000, 2,000 miles for a meeting, I think the Zoom is going to be an alternative that a lot of companies, large companies, were already doing it prior to the pandemic in many cases. And I think even the smallest business, a solo entrepreneur, will be doing the same thing. So the question is, what is Zoom? It's a way of communicating. And I think we need to think about that, because communications is a key to a successful business. Your ability to communicate in all the different ways. Employees communicating, vendors, right? Customers, clients, prospective customers, and suppliers, and on and on and on. Your ability to be a good communicator to a certain degree determines the success of your business. So Zoom is another tool, if you will, in your toolbox. And properly used, like most tools, it can give you great results. And so I encourage you to think of it that way and include Zoom in your toolbox and that of your business. My second question to you, before we get into my 3 reasons that I think it's going to be here, is ask you, has your business adapted? Has it adapted to the use of Zoom and the reality that Zoom is going to stay with us? Okay, 1, have you adopted Zoom or a similar product? Again, I'm not pushing product today, but it's a way of communicating, the Zooming, right? Has your business brought that tool, made it work, communicated with your employees, gotten them to use it? Because there's lots of instances of use, and we're going to talk about lots of opportunity, one of my favorite words, to utilize this if you will adapt your business to using Zoom as one of your ways of communication. The 3 reasons I think it's here to stay: first and foremost, the efficiency. It's just damned efficient to be able to communicate. You know, a phone call versus getting in a vehicle or walking down the street to talk to your vendors, your workforce, your sales, customer service, all that kinds of thing. It can be very efficient. If I'm a customer and I call into customer service, the ability to talk on the phone, that's great. But I happen to believe that if I put you up on the screen as well, and we have a video communication as well as audio, that is even more efficient, because that puts a face with the conversation. And I think it's important that businesses consider that as they look at it as a tool to use customer service, vendors, suppliers, marketing, looking for new customers, staying in touch with customers. talking about new products through webinars and things like that. Great, great opportunities. The second thing is, I believe that customers, your customers, whether you're business to business or selling to consumers, are getting used to it to the point that they expect it. They like the in-person contact. But right now, there's certain limitations, depending on what state you're located in, to having that in-person contact. So people are getting used to the opportunity that a video contact offers them. They can still get a sense of being in person. And I think that's going to carry over, and people are going to be accepting of that. And the idea they don't have to drive to a store to return something, or to talk to customer service, or to place an order. Again, you can do that on the internet in a lot of different ways, but I think the video idea, adding video to that formula, really adds a lot, and I think obviously people are getting more and more used to it. I am doing nonprofit presentations, community association meetings. These are all being held on video cast. It's the way it's being done because it was required. Now I'm finding people having a hard time transitioning as things start to open up. They want that. And last but not least, current and future health and other threats, disruptions that occur, I think will cause Zooming to become an integral part of what we do. So I encourage you, find the best software that fits your business. Train your employees, as well as the people who use your services, you buy your products, who you do business with, and monitor that usage and adjust. Don't just turn it on and walk away. Make it seamless, like everyday communication tools should be. Well, thank you for joining us today. There'll be a podcast and a video cast of today's program available after Wednesday of this week. And I will tell you just one thing. Until next week, stay engaged and keep your focus on what counts in your business.
Today's show was recorded and broadcasted live on irlonestar.com, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and all rights and ownership are reserved to Lone Star Community Radio. For more information regarding this program and Lone Star Community Radio, visit us online at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, serving the community with local programming on TV, radio, and online. If you enjoyed today's program, please support us by sponsorship or starting your own show. Contact us today by phone or text at 936-666-1084 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.